So to start with, I want to make a bit of a prediction, and the prediction is that 2009 will mark the start of a decade-long Australian online retail boom, or at least investment in online retail. And there's a number of factors behind that I'll go through in a minute. But I think there's a huge opportunity for those that are prepared to sort of lead online. And there's also threats for any retailer that doesn't adapt to this sort of new environment, because online is such an important part of the consideration process, as Ross will talk through, and it's just completely integrated with the whole customer shopping experience. So there are opportunities for those that lead, and there are definitely threats for those that don't adapt. Online retail is significantly underdeveloped in Australia compared to the rest of the world. Some studies indicate that online sales as a percentage of all retail sales is about half that of the US and the UK. And there's a number of factors, behind that have, there was a lot of investment made back in the dot-com boom, and that pretty much stopped in Australia, where the rest of the world has continued to invest because of their larger market, more competition and so forth. And it's worth considering that, companies like Amazon invest about $1 billion US a year in R&D, and they have been doing so for the last decade, while Australian retailers really haven't been investing in online retail at all. So there's a lot of catch-up to happen, and hopefully that creates an opportunity, because we've now got consumers that are ready to buy online. Forrester reports that $23 billion was spent in 2008 online, and that's forecast to grow at 9% annually until 2012 to $32 billion. And eBay reports that 5 million Australians use eBay each month, which is a significant percentage of the adult population using eBay each month to buy and to sell. Online retail is definitely a global opportunity and definitely a global threat for Australian retailers. The Australian Payments and Clearing Association reports that of the $23 billion spent in 2008, 43% went offshore to international retailers or vendors. And that's an increase from 13% going offshore about 3 to 4 years ago. So international or global companies are achieving some great success growing their sales from Australian consumers, and they're taking market share away from Australian retailers. And geographic factors are much less important online. I mean, typically with any retail operation, choosing your location for your stores is a critical decision, and obviously online, every website is the same distance away from the consumer, which is a matter of keystrokes. And there's no question that, especially with the strong Australian dollar, some international retailers can now offer range, price, and even fulfilment and delivery far better than local retailers can, even though they've got to ship from overseas and don't have the efficiencies of more streamlined distribution within Australia. So definitely a lot of money is going offshore, but again that presents an opportunity because definitely Australians want to buy from Australian companies, and we've got some really strong Australian brands that we can capitalise upon. The competition for online retail is multi-dimensional, and we've got traditional Australian retailers who some of which are selling online, some of whom will be selling online in the next year or two. We've got global retailers like Amazon. We've got the online pure plays that have developed in Australia, like dealsdirect.com.au and Big Brown Box, a relatively new entrant. And then we've got the sort of pure play specialty stores, people like strawberrynet.com that sell cosmetics and makeup and so forth. And pretty much every category you can think of, there is a specialty store online that just does one particular thing. And even though some of those businesses are relatively small, because they focus on one area, they can optimise the customer experience around that particular product. And they actually do enjoy, pretty good buying power because they're just focused in one particular area. And you've also got manufacturers selling direct, so people like Apple, Sony, and Dell who are getting pretty good at targeting their customers directly. Certainly myself, when I buy sort of Apple equipment, I tend to buy it online because I know that I'm going to get it fast, which is usually what I want. I can put in an order and I'll receive my order 2 days later, and I know that I can call Apple directly if there's a problem, and I'm happy to pay full retail price, for that extra convenience. I heard a marketing representative from Sony talking at an e-commerce seminar in Sydney a couple of months ago, and somebody from the floor asked her about their move to start selling directly online. And her response was that it's something that they have to do to protect their brand, given that you've got discount retailers like JB Hi-Fi who are now stacking up boxes of Sony equipment in the corner, and so their brand is being commoditised because of the way that the offline retail world is moving. So the only way to control their brand is to actually start selling directly, and the most efficient way for them to do that is online. And obviously Apple have sort of led the charge there with a great online store, but also physical stores. So that's another factor in the competition sort of landscape that'll evolve further over the next few years. And then you've also got individuals, eBay power sellers. There's an eBay power seller in the BRW Young Rich. I think there are eBay power sellers who are among the highest turnover online retailers in Australia, and these are serious operations. And Deals Direct grew out of a group of people who were using eBay as their platform for selling online. So another prediction that those, and this is a pretty obvious one, but those that offer the best customer service will be the long-term winners, and I'll talk more about that. And consider that Apple has gone from being a computer manufacturer to the world's largest music retailer, selling all of their music online in a very short space of time. And they've done that through innovating a better customer experience and completely changing the way that people buy and consume music. And I'm sure that's taken the traditional music retailers by surprise. And obviously, because music is distributed digitally, it's perfect for online. But I think the same sort of factors apply to any kind of retail, probably to a lesser degree. But the changes that have taken place in the music industry, probably the news and media industries at the moment due to the internet, it also affect retail as a whole. So, most certainly, convenience equals a good customer experience, and I think previously people felt as though the reason why people bought online was due to price, and I don't believe that's the case any longer. The value proposition for online shopping, I believe, is actually convenience. Being able to buy any time of the day or night, from work, from home, from your mobile device. People are working longer hours, they're commuting further distances, they're spending less and less time at home, and less time is available to them to be actually able to go to a shop. And so being able to buy and do your research online offers great convenience. Airlines, banks and the retail leaders like Apple that I've talked about have demonstrated the benefits to consumers of transacting online, and it's amazing how the airline industry completely changed and the banking industry completely changed, and everybody, every person in the Australian population that's sort of that's an adult, would have used an airline website or a banking website at some point. So people have been trained, how to use these tools, and that they're in, as well as saving money for the airlines and the banks. That experience is actually a better experience than getting in your car, queuing up, etc., etc. One of the results of people like Amazon and Apple creating this fantastic customer experience is that they've created these really high expectations among all consumers, and their consumers are all of your consumers as well. So this is one of the challenges of moving into online retail for the first time, is that you're creating an experience that needs to compete with an experience from Amazon that's been crafted over a 10-year period and had literally billions of dollars invested in it.